So this resonates so powerfully with me. I had a little health care not too long ago, so I had a pretty powerful preview of mortality before that whole COVID thing unraveled in front of all of us. And I was forced to look back and ask myself a question like, what do you regret? I mean, what mattered?
Yeah, yeah,
And the thing is, I remembered the travels as
yeah.
one of the huge highlights.
You
It's a
know,
big deal.
it really is. Ilona, you're right, because somehow and it's hard to describe, but that's what, there's something it is about, like, that experience, about being places, seeing things. It's so enriching. It does something to your outlook on life, and probably again, coming back to this idea of equanimity.
Yeah.
And again, I think the last time we talked, I was talking a little bit about Buddhism and what have you, and
Huh?
there's so much about these concepts I've embraced. It's very Buddhist, and Buddhism is, I'm not espousing it as hey, a religion and everybody follow. It's truly much more something. It's self-help and psychology and so many things. It's a non-theistic religion, if you will. It's not even really religion. So my point is, like, I've gotten a lot out of it, but it was sort of like, it was almost obvious as I was reading and learning about these things. It's like, I'm already doing that, or I connect with this. I get it,
Mm-hmm.
I think I personally just happen to be in a position that it just made so much sense. It was almost like, I'm pretty much, that's how I look at life, but this helps frame it in a way that makes even more sense, and it only helps reinforce that this is what I believe and how I approach my life and
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I noticed, though, strangely, for whatever reason, people who have had much more experience really traveling and really seeing the world,
Mm-hmm.
going to places, meeting different kinds of people, seeing different kind of cultures, whatever it is, that does something in a positive way.
Yes.
The people who come out of that experience, not just like happier you did it and you feel more fulfilled, but it's doing something to, I think, your way of thinking, and even maybe your wiring in your brain, that it's forcing you to realize there's so much out there that's different than your own experience, than whatever your own little world that you may have somewhere.
Amen.
But you go to places, and especially when you go to places where it's a language, they don't speak English, you don't speak their language, but somehow maybe you have somebody there interpreting or whatever, but you're making it work. Like, it's truly developing this wonderful worldly perspective that anybody I've seen that goes through this are just better people.
Yes. Yes. Big yes to that. You mentioned very early in our conversation that transformative powers that came from your love for your family, for Juliana, this transformational quality, and it just came up again. It literally changes who you are at your core.
Yes.
There's no substitute for having this 3D experience. It's not something you can watch or observe. Once you're thrust in it, when you're in some remote village and really taking it all in, there's something so powerful about it that you're never the same. It changes your point of view. It changes your relationship with yourself forever.
I think, though, I don't think it necessarily may work for, everybody. I think it has to do with who you are as a person, your dispositions, your ability to, again, maybe receive,
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm not, you and I are just kind of two human beings with some level of experience and thoughtfulness, and shared loves of stuff that we're just, we're talking about these things. But, I, I don't know, that, of course, what shaped you, what shaped me. Of course, every single person, if they were put in the same circumstance, doesn't mean they would respond or
Yeah.
develop the same way.
No, you're right.
I don't know.
Mhm.
This is like that something that you can't really explain. I feel for I feel for the people I know that don't truly have the ability to have compassion or real love, or that those that hold on to things like anger and hatred. And what you also, I guess, me where I am now, you can't. There's not just something you can say or show or do
Yeah.
that will change that. Everybody's life is their own truly unique journey, and and what you did, where you are, what you went through, how it made who you are. That's one unique story, one unique sort of life unfolding. That doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing for anybody else.
That's very true. And I think it has to do with how you show up, where it is that you are, whether you geographically somewhere else or just simply meeting a new person. If you're so invested in bringing your own set of values and imposing them on your environment, that's what you're going to experience. You're going to experience a reflection of that. You're going to have expectations. You're going to miss out on the whole thing. And in a way, it's exactly what you said. I feel sorry for that person. If you show up in Italy and go eat at McDonald's instead of some little trattoria,
I know.
you're going to have a very different experience.
And that happens a lot. And the thing is, it's one thing. I guess you and I have traveled a lot. We're wine, especially in the wine. We're lucky when such a big part of your life is like the wine world. I mean, that itself is so global, and it's so maybe we've had opportunities and experiences that are unusual, because it links to some part of our profession and ambition, but our passions, but also the idea of wine. If you go to Burgundy and you realize how the Burgundians are farmers, simple people, but make with a craft, creating the greatest expression of wine in the world. Or I've been lucky to be in Chile and Argentina and going to wineries there that are up and coming, making great wines, and just seeing how there's some wonderful connection globally with this thing we love. Maybe that gives you perspective too. But I think, again, it goes back to this idea of being receptive, seeing a bigger picture, like you say, helicopter almost. It's like, it is like you maybe take a helicopter view. I don't know. Does everybody have that capacity, ability? Let alone, we're lucky we have opportunity to see this. We've seen this stuff firsthand, and there's no replacing experience.
No, that's probably the most valuable thing that you can have. It's not material possessions. And someone like you that has had a lot of opportunity for hedonistic experiences and fabulous food and wine and interactions, and again, the glamorous life that you got to experience in the circles that you traveled. That's not really in our conversations that comes up in the forefront. That's just setting the stage, I suppose. It's the background. You have been always so generous the way that you looked at the world, because you wanted to invite it in. You wanted to facilitate that experience. And you're also generous financially, I should mention that, which impresses me to no end. You support a lot of charities. But again, it's all logical extensions of who you are on the inside, how you show up. And that's why you attract in kind, and you stick with those people that are in kind with you, family, friends. It really does come from deep within, and it informs your life's journey.
Well, look, man, none of us truly have, the answers to life. None of us. The amazing thing is, every single person right now alive, what is it, 7 billion people, this is the first go at it, and it's the last go at it.
Yeah.
I maybe for whatever reasons, have always maintained in the back of my head some good perspective and a feeling of being some kind of humbleness, I guess, or feeling fortunate. Like, oh my gosh, as a kid growing up in smallish town, southern Indiana, with, some idea that there was a bigger world out there, and then suddenly doing things, suddenly being cast in these crazy experiences, crazy world. I will tell you, there were so many times I would just sit back and say, burn this moment in your brain.
That's great. I love it.
Remember this, even if you just keep it to yourself, whatever it is. Here you are looking upon the Latash vineyard on a rainy day, before budding, and here it is. This is the greatest vineyards of the world. Or times where you're on your friend's boat, and the Black Eyed Peas are playing for a private concert of you and your friends, and
happens all the time.
Seriously, I like to think I was somebody that could step back and not saying, wow, I'm entitled to this, and because I'm so much better and special than anybody else. No, it was more like, wow, what a great thing to be able to experience. And the best thing you can do right now is appreciate it, keep it in your memory, and nobody will ever be able to take that away from you, which is these experiences you had. And that, so circling back to this idea of, travel, seeing places, meeting people, seeing different cultures, that is something that stays with you. Nobody can take experience away from you,
So true. And it's like now more than ever. So I was fortunate to travel in a different context than mostly wine regions, of course, as a wine writer. And I was just absolutely enthralled with every single one. And in my misguided attempt to document it, to hold on to it, I accumulated 156,000 photos on my phone.
Wow.
Which previous generation, my phone was literally mad at me all the time.
I can't even imagine the phone would have enough memory capacity for that.
I strained my phone to the point where people didn't believe me, so I showed them the actual digits in the phone, and I got like really intense stares, like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. How is it possible? And when I look at looking back at the photos, or sometimes your phone pops them up like memory from 2017, I realized something that absolutely horrified me, which was while I was taking the photo, I was missing the moment because I was too busy positioning the camera and documenting it, and I wasn't letting it.
Oh, I totally. And don't beat yourself up too much. Mm-hmm. don't beat yourself up too much. I think, that's so much of this social media and smartphone
Exactly.
we live in, which, it's so easy to document and photo and all this stuff. Don't
Yeah.
beat yourself up,
It's so,
because now you still remember it.
I do. And, I kind of fell for that whole staging that prevailed our digital reality. And I think I kind of screwed myself out of a little bit, or maybe a lot in some cases, the full, force of what was in front of me. I'd like to think that I still experienced it, but it's kind of a pitfall that we fall into. We're too busy analyzing it,
Yeah.
opposed to experience it. An experiential part is so important. And the way that you described it, I just loved that humility piece that you brought into. When you're in front of greatness, and greatness is not some huge building or, something, monumental. Greatness is an emotion, it's a reflection.
Yeah.
And that's what's humbling. It's like when you stand in front of the ocean, I mean, all your problems kind of have to go away because compared to that body of water, you're very small. So your problems have to be smaller yet, or
Yeah.
mountain range or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's that perspective that keeps you humble and in check. And, we started this conversation on the note that I feel very fortunate to know you. Our conversations are very enriching to me. And you and I had this kind of a credo, almost informal, of course, that we really want to talk about things that matter to us. And hopefully people will find it insightful and entertaining and enlightening.
Yeah.
We're doing this for the audience, of course. We want to engage people that are watching us right now. But that's not an end game. It's the process itself that's been so fulfilling to me.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
No, absolutely. I think, and we're starting this process, and this is very different than what brought us together was the concept of doing something wine related.
Mm-hmm.
And, we circle back to the idea that we're involved in wine, and in a strange way, it's exactly, I think, why people like us got involved in the wine world, got in love with wine, passionate about wine. It brings people together. There's something very human about it, and very leveling of the social
Of course,
order,
it's a
if
equalizer.
So I'm glad we've coming on a format where we can have the just open conversations about life and such. It's important to share, and it's not self-indulgent in the way of we're being very open and very willing to share things about ourselves, about our lives, that I think amazing that it's coming about in these times of quarantine and this virus, this pandemic, which is no joke. Once you literally know people who have died from the virus, and people this is, I'm noticing some people have a harder time grasping, like, why are things shut down? Why are we wrecking our economy for this? I don't know. What's a human life worth? But once you really know that there's suffering out there, and this is a bigger thing than, quarterly earnings for JP Morgan or, Walmart or whatever. What's it worth? I don't know. So here we are suddenly, and we've started this process of wonderful open conversations. These are trying times. You only, I guess, if I could put any message out there, it's nobody should feel alone. And I get, can I tell you from like 90 Day Fiance?
Of course.
I get a lot of messages. Uh, it would break your heart to see some of the messages, the desperation, and it's not just here in America, it's around the world. And especially with what's happening with the virus, people just, whatever they can do, they're need some help. They need help.
Yeah.
And oh man, me personally, I really, really wish I was in a position to help everybody that I could, and frankly, this pandemic has put us in a not such great position, like everybody else, and I don't know. So this is something, it's very human. I think we're linking to something that's so important for the times. I hope humanity can prevail here.
Yes.
And guess what? It will if we hold on to our own humanity, and it's up to everybody else.
Exactly. It's a very personal choice. Who do you want to be? And you and I have basically discussed many aspects of what human nature is capable of, its range and such like that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to your own conversation between your ears.
Yeah, I know.
I feel humbled, and I feel a lot of gratitude for people like you, because you were living a thoughtful life, and you were generous, not just with your money, as we've established your charitable side, but you really gave of yourself to people that you came in contact with. And I think you've already established a powerful precedent of how to be a better human. And I love exploring that. And we're going to have lots more. We're going to have talk wine next time, because I'm having withdrawals. So you have to tell us all about your travels in Burgundy and everywhere else.
I do have, some themes for future episodes. I do have some bottles ready that we can do some conversations about some special bottles and wines. And we can share even, thankfully, you and James were here, and we shared some wonderful bottles. And
Yes.
we have things, even if we're in sharing, this self-quarantining situation, we can still reflect on wine, and that will be fun too. And we're so lucky that's wine is such a part of our lives.
Yes.
It's what brought us together.
It is. And again, the moment that we connected, it's like, I feel like we can finish each other's sentences. So many things you say throughout our interaction. I mean, this is how we normally talk in real life. This is not for the sake of recording. We really do find ourselves on the same page.
Yeah.
And again, the comfort of that, especially in uncertain times, is tremendous. So
we both need it, because it's hard to come by. And I thank you. And I appreciate this as a project that we're doing together. And hopefully for whomever finds something interesting or can benefit from it, if nothing else, it's wonderful that we can share these conversations together. And I agree with you. I know what you're saying. We have a way of communicating and being able to talk about things that are truly important, and we feel, and I think both you and I need to get it out there. We feel a need to express it for whatever reason. So here we are,
Absolutely. Now, again, much gratitude for you, for who you are as a person and what you represent as a citizen. I take that title very seriously, because we all have a responsibility to be better to each other. And it was just so delightful to see you in different contexts and with your family, and it just added so much value to my life. And I know that those that are listening / watching, I think they will feel the same way. I think there's other like-minded people out there, and I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. I hope so. I know so. And it's this now more than ever. Oh my gosh, without question, now more than ever is the time for real talk. You know,
Yep.
no reason to hide behind anything. Get the feelings out. I mean, the level of anxiety, neuroses, the stuff that's happening now. You know, now is truly the time. I would urge anybody out. You know, do your best. Find somebody out there to talk about what's going on. Even though there's so many problems, everybody's suffering. It doesn't mean you're alone. You know, I enjoy. I've developed correspondence with many people, and look, I mean, to the degree I can stay on top, I'm happy to hear from anybody. You know, when it's on a human level, like nothing, really, truly nothing means more to me than being, you know, connecting with somebody. Real connection, you know, and you know, I was telling you earlier, you know, I get a lot of messages with people who really need help.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's only so much I'm in the position to do personally at this moment, other than say, I can give you emotional support and I'm here for you. And I understand what a hard time it is. And I can talk with you, you know, that's what I can offer. And, but I can also say these are unprecedented times and stay strong, persevere and survive, and you will. You know, that's the best I can do, but I'm glad I can at least offer that, you know?
Well, it's a lot, you know. We actually have more than ever access because we can talk to each other. We're not rushing past each other because we have something else to do.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a huge wealth of resources right there. Instead of looking at your phone or just, like I said, rushing someplace to the next destination, now we get a chance to take a pause and take a breath and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've already done that. That's what's so remarkable about you, is that you've practiced that. You didn't need a crisis to tell you how to be, you know, the person that's present in your world.
Well, maybe things we get into other times. I've had my formative crises in life that probably helped me arrive at this way of thinking, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess the way to put it is, yeah, I can really empathize. And you know what? I think the last time we talked, I was saying, like, for example, I would never, there's no way I could become like a billionaire, you know? I could never get to that point because I would have already helped and given away what I can, you know?
Mm-hmm. I see that about you.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm not so like, it's not even like I'm bleeding heart. I mean, I'm a collector of things. I have my own stuff. I love my guitars and wine and this and that. It's not that I'm so fucking. And I'm not like the most selfish person.
Remember?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I have my own things, but there's a point at which it's like, you know, I just try to get by in life and enjoy what I can and do this. I want to help. I wish I could help everybody. I don't know why. I can't tell you why that gives me such a charge in life. And it's not that something you know, comes back or you're expecting, you know, a quid pro quo or something transactional, but I know that I've been there. I know that, you know, people need help, and I know what it's like to feel desperate. I know to feel alone and to feel hopeless, you know. I can identify with that, and how actually something little can really change somebody's life, you know. This is a whole nother topic we can talk about, which is, I mean,
we're gonna have to delve into it. You're right. It's a whole other topic.
Well, I mean, and you know, being around somebody who's been around, and look, I'm not complaining. I've been fortunate enough, and look, these are challenging times. Things are changing. Things weren't nearly as rosy as they were a few months ago. We're all struggling. My businesses are flat right now, basically dead. But like so many people, I'm not complaining. It is what it is. You try to survive. But I guess having been around real crazy wealth,
Mhm.
I mean crazy wealth. That's when I learned I could never be like that. It's not a judgment on that at all. People are who they are, and if you've worked hard or whatever, you have what you have. But man, I can only hope something wonderfully human comes out of this, and getting away from commerce and assets and having things. We will see happiness, and people that have been more fortunate will rise to the occasion to help those that are less fortunate.
So true. Even now, I see, some auctions are going online and such like that. There's an opportunity to give, maybe in a different way, maybe in a different quantity.
Oh yeah.
But if you're leaning that way, if you have that inkling, there's always a way to help, even if it's something as simple as helping neighbors. So I would encourage everybody to think about what they want to do. And then once you figure that out, then you'll find ways to do it.
We're in this together. This is it is truly a silent war with a silent enemy that you can't go throw a nuclear bomb at it. You can't go invade it. This is something that's bringing us all together one way or another.
Absolutely.
And
it's reprioritizing too, which is, again, it's going to come out a little strange saying I love that about this opportunity, because it's certainly, I would not wish it, but it's here, and it's what we make of it.
Yeah.
As devastating as everything is, I see hopeful things everywhere, and that's what I choose to focus on, and I hope you guys do too. We have so much more to talk about. Next time, we're going to switch gears and tackle yet another subject, wine, just like life or love. It's got so many different aspects to it. It's endless, but we'll try to get a slice of it and chew on that together and figure out what that world is about. And then music and all sorts of, and of course, on a serious note, all the charitable causes that you've supported over the years. There's so many more things to talk about, and I really can't wait.
Cool. Well, this has been really wonderful and fun, and I can't wait till the next time.
Indeed. Cheers.
Cheers.